My name is Ameen Schroeder. I'm a registered undertaker. I am also a death registrar. And today I was asked to speak about my experience with regards to COVID-19 and the process of burials and the process of janazas. And the off-start that when COVID came in March, I myself and our team did not know what we're going to go into. We didn't know what we're going to be experiencing. We did not know what lies ahead for us. But we started and we monitored. We monitored the whole process firstly. The first month, we did not want to get involved into COVID. We were saying that, okay, we will handle all those people that have passed on of natural causes. We will handle those janazas. But we will monitor the process of the COVID cases. Because when we read the media, social media, and all of these newspapers and so forth, and we read about COVID and how the danger thereof. So we needed to be very cautious of when we're going to go into this thing, that we needed to be fully prepared. It came to such an extent that COVID started in March, we monitored, and then as the process continued, we just did natural causes. People were still dying in hospitals and at homes of natural causes, non-COVID cases. And 2 or 3 months later, we then decided, you know what, the amount of people that were phoning and asking us to assist, at any given time, during the night, during the day, early hours of the morning, people phone and say, a family member passed of COVID, can you please assist? And at that time I would refer the work to other undertakers. And this made me realize that, there's a need for undertakers to come back and to come and do what needs to be done in the form of assisting these people with their janazas. We did our homework. When you get our, what is the requirements as per the Gazette, and we went to get then one needed to get PPE, one needed to make sure that your vehicle is going to be adequate for COVID. We needed to ensure that everything was in its place. And when we started, a few months later, COVID came. Every single day we were busy with COVID cases. And everybody, when they pick up the phone and they say a family member has passed on, and what is your protocol? We gave him the protocol, what we need to do, collect the body, body's going to be bagged from the hospital, we're going to take it to the Ghusl-Khana, whether it's Usami or Tarong Road, and then from there we're going to do the washing and the ghusl, and from there we're going to liaise with you with regards to burial and the criteria that we request from people for the burial. And then through that entire process, COVID subsided, and that was a blessing. And until recently, COVID started again. And I think the second wave is the wave that really hits us. The first wave didn't hit us like the second wave. Because in the first wave, we used to do 1-2 burials a day with COVID. And in between, we had people that were dying of natural causes. Non-COVID cases. When the second wave came, we were hit with COVID. 4, 5, and I'm talking about myself, I cannot speak for other undertakers. I was speaking with myself, we were doing like 4, 5 cases, 6 cases a day. So you must now know that if you're going to do 6 cases a day, it is 6 kafan kits, 6 sets of planks, you know, 6 times that you got to dress up into PPE, 6 times that you're going to bury somebody. So this is on an everyday system. And people need to be collected in the middle of the night. They phone you and they say that a family member has passed on and they need assistance. It's a COVID case. And this is how it went, where you have minimum amount of sleep for the last couple of weeks. It was a nightmare. It was really a nightmare. Because people literally started dying of COVID. Families were telling me that yesterday I spoke to him and he was alright and he was happy and he could talk. And the next minute they phone and they says that his man has taken a bad turn, and a few hours later the person has passed on. So it was a challenging period of time over the last couple of months, and particularly for this last month and a half, that undertakers like myself and many others, that we had to, the challenges that were set out for us. We only had, it's 3 facilities that were available where washing could be done. It was done at the Rangarod Masjid, the Osami Masjid, and then recently the one out in Tafelsig, which was plain, that was also made available. But the Rangarod being the center of everybody came to the Rangarod. And there was photos on social media of how the vehicles were standing, you know, vehicles were standing wanting to use the Rangarod for the washing, use the washing facility. And you got to physically stand, because the guys pull up there, not with 1, with 2, 3 mates in the van that needs to be washed. This is the nightmare that we are talking about. So these vehicles would pull up there and these people need to be washed and they need to be buried as soon as possible. People come and, you know, because anybody that has been admitted to hospital, they lay in hospital for 2-3 weeks. You don't see that person. There's a possibility that you can still video call that particular person. But if that person is very ill, that person is maybe in a seduced coma for that matter. So family members are totally cut off from their family that is laying in hospital. And that is also very hard. So I also just want to make mention that, you know, people that have passed on at home, you know, I would always say that when you are from the fortunate ones. This person that passed on is a non-COVID case, or the person came from hospital also, it's a non-COVID, and they're so fortunate to have this person at their home where they can collectively with the tukamani, they can wash the person, they can sit down and they recite Quran and so forth. But unfortunately, when it comes to COVID cases, it's very cold, because your appointed team, like myself, I have a team, female tukamanis, and I've got male tukamanis as well. So these, they have been trained we went through a workshop the start of Ramadan, the first Sunday of Ramadan. We went through a workshop for COVID training, how to handle these cases. You know, so your family cannot partake, because now you can only have your guys in the room and your guys are going to do the washing. Your guys are preparing the mayat for burial. So that was one of the hard sore parts about this whole scenario, or challenges, if I'm going to call it. Let's call it a challenge. That family couldn't help, where family couldn't assist. Like in normal procedures, when a person is laying there and then the person is being we greet the person that they've passed on. When it comes to a COVID case, you cannot do that. You've got to just stand there and look at that person's face. And you make dua for that particular person, for your family member that they passed on. So these are some of the issues and some of the challenges that you're sitting with, And it is a lot of times that it takes you emotionally, it takes you of how this whole case, this whole system that you gotta run, because you got your own system, your protocol according to the health department, environmental health and so forth. You're using their guidelines, and you say to people, sorry, you can't touch, you can't hug, you can't kiss. This is the challenges that we were sitting with, because you need to tell people that. When people tell you that they want to help you with the washing, you say you can't. Unfortunately, because of the virus, and people ask us, but now, can't we do this? And can't, sorry, maaf, And as I say to all the people that I help, and I say to them, you know what, if it happens within my boundary, I'll assist you. It's outside my boundary, I'm going to advise you, tell you of what can be done, what cannot be done. And a lot of people request so many things from us as undertakers. Unfortunately, then we have to say, no, we can't do this or we can't do that. But I think one of the closing points, that is when we are at the cemetery and we ask family members to come nearer and come and assist. So there's still people that have that stigma and say, you know what, COVID, no, I'm not going to touch, I'm not going to be close by nothing. So as undertakers, we ensure that the cattle that the body lies in, the handles that are being used, it is sanitized. So we want to give people that surety, that bit of comfort to say, you know what, this thing has been sanitized, and help and assist. So with the appointment of 7, we call upon our 7 people to come forward, and 7 people to assist with the burial, just for them to bring a bit of closure to this whole challenge, just to bring a bit of closure to this challenge, where they can at least partake to lay their loved ones to rest. Because remember, when we get the mayat from the hospital, it is in a wrapped bag already. So we don't see the face. We do not know what we're sitting with. So with and then we take the mayat now from there to Ghusl Khana and have it washed and kafan and so forth. So many times it arises that they ask you, that how do we know that you buried my mother, or you buried my father, my uncle, my aunt, or him? How do I know that? Because I haven't seen, So that's why I say we put certain protocols that we put into place, and we say, you know what, the Hazil or the Hazila that's in the room is doing the washing, you know what, just take a photo of the deceased so I can get confirmation from the family that this is the person that we are currently working with. So then we get the thumbs up and then we feel at ease. The son or some family member have come back to us and say, you know what, that is my family member that you are busy with. So that is one of the protocols that we put into place. So that people can that we can have that closure on that part, so that people know that the person that is here, that you're busy making salah upon, that is my family member. That is my father, my mother, whatever the family member that he is. A lot of as undertakers, you know, you're sitting with a lot of challenges. You sit with a lot of challenges, you know, because you need to be emotionally strong. You need to be physically strong, you know, to handle this, because you've got to handle the family and you've got to handle the scenario. And I want just to give you, you know, what was a few examples that really takes you, you know, and I can only speak about the ones in the janazas and the funerals that I have done. We had cases, I'm not going to mention any names and I'm not going to mention any areas. We had cases, you know, that where the wife passes away and in less than 48 hours, the husband passes away. We had a case where a young girl passed away, but I say young, she was in the early 30s, and a week prior to that, she gave birth. We had cases, or many cases that we had, where parents pass on, mothers and fathers pass on, days and weeks apart. They phone you, the son or some family says, Ameen, we did my mother last week, my daddy now passed away. Or my daddy passed away, last week did my daddy, and this week my mommy passed away. You look on social media and other media platforms, you hear people that pass away days apart, hours apart. And this is the emotional part that you've got to go through, where you have to see, you know, I just done one janazah for this family that they've passed on of COVID. And you're sitting with another one that they've passed on of COVID. And now you've got to handle the emotions of those people, those families. People is young, you know, it was it's young, 30 years old. When I looked at COVID in the second wave of COVID, you know, we started off with people aged 49 years old, 45, 46 years old. The girl that gave birth a week prior to that, the mother passed on, she was in the early 30s. So this second wave has really taken the younger generation. Very little from the elders. I mean, I look at I'm talking about myself and I look at my stats. You know, I mean, just yesterday, the day before, I buried the 91-year-old that passed on of COVID. I had a few now in the last couple of weeks. There was a few people quite into the age, in the late 80s, early 90s, people that have passed on of the COVID, unfortunately. So that is one of the great challenges that one needed to sit with, you know, is that you were faced with one person now, and a few days later you get to face with another person of that same household. One of our colleagues, one of our other undertakers, had a case where he did the mother the one week, and the following week he was burying the daughter. You know, brother and sister. You know, mother and father, brother and sister, son and it's weeks. You know, and we're talking about, if not days, we are talking about hours, weeks apart where these people pass on. So this is one of this was one of the scariest challenges for me, that I had to bury people within days from the same household. One of the other challenges that we were sitting with is that you had, when before the second wave came, I don't think any undertaker knew what he was going to be expecting. I don't think we knew what we were going to be expecting. So I just coincidentally, I purchased kafan stock, and I purchased planks because we were going now into the end of the year, and the factories and the mills and timber places are all going to be closed, so we're going to buy additional stock just in case. So I had quite a big shipment of planks at home. I had a big shipment of kafan at home, and when this thing hit, those things dropped. I saw how my kafan went, I saw how my planks were going, and I started getting worried. I was starting to get worried because I can see, yes, there is people dying. So that was one of the other challenges that we were sitting with, that that we the items that we use for the janazas, were becoming now scarce because everybody's closed at the present moment. Your factories are closed, your mills are closed. So that was another challenge that we were sitting with. So now that the mills and the factories and everybody's open, now you can, buy your necessary things. Alhamdulillah, we were, ourselves and our team were very fortunate that the guy that supplies us with our PPE equipment. That was another challenge because you needed to ensure that you had the proper PPE. Not any, you had to have your full white suit, you need to have gloves, you need masks, armbands, headgear, it's the apron, it's the foot piece. You needed to ensure that you were proper gear. And with these places all closing, alhamdulillah, we were fortunate enough that the person that was supplying us with our PPE, he said to me that, Ameen, if at any given stage that you require any PPE, please pick up the phone, I will open up for you. So we had genuine people out there. There were genuine people out there that will come to the rescue to assist you because they saw what was happening. They could see it in the media, they could see it on social media, what the situation was. So alhamdulillah, we were fortunate for that. But this was also another challenge that we were sitting with because, as I said, that places were closing and we needed to get certain things in order to bury the loved ones. So there are many other challenges that one can speak about. There were many, as I said earlier on, that we've got to sit with the emotions of people. People come up to you and they said, I want this and I want that and I want this to be done. And we say, you know what, if it falls within my boundaries, I can assist you. If it falls outside, I can't assist you. I've got to protect myself, I've got to protect my team, and I have to protect you as the family member of that deceased. I have to do that. Some people weren't concerned whether they were going to get the virus or not get the virus. But I needed to follow protocol. It was very important to me, I needed to follow protocol. It's very unfortunate, I want to make mention about this, very unfortunate that, when we speak about the protocol, and we say to people, please follow protocol, social distancing, limiting amount of people to attend the janazah. It became very difficult for that to happen, and tell people that, please just adhere to social distancing, adhere to having minimum amount of people at the janazah. You know, some people follow that and others don't. Some people do it and say, you know what, I'm not going to go to the janazah because of COVID. You know. So we want to thank those people that they follow that protocol. So, as I said, we've got to meet all of these challenges of people, the request of people, request of family members asking us certain questions, asking us, you know, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? You know. Burial space was another challenge because now people want to utilize family graves. The Clipper Cemetery was just before the new year. Clipper Cemetery never any place for us. They were recording large amount of burials on a day-to-day basis, coming from all over Cape Town. Likewise, people coming from, you know, utilizing Mowbray, Johnson Road, where you can only do a reopen of a grave after 15 years. So these are from challenges. People wanted to be at certain graveyards. People wanted to be at certain with their loved ones that were buried there. Mowbray couldn't cope with the amount of people that were coming in. You know, because they go to Johnson Road and they can hopefully that be able to assist you because they need to check to see whether that family member that you're talking about is buried there. So municipal cemeteries were the cemeteries that were starting to fill up until now recently that we've opened up on the Maitland Cemetery where we've got additional space for more graves and for more for people to bury. So at this given stage, at the time that I'm speaking to you now, the COVID is slacked down a little bit. COVID is slacked down a little bit. Not much. People are still, there are still people that are very, very sick of COVID. People are in comas. People on ventilators. You know. So to conclude, we made dua and we also made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant those that have passed on. Allah was granting Jannatul Firdaus. And you know, many of our little scholars would remind us that the person that passes away this time, you know, it's a shaheed, subhanallah. You know, so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him Jannatul Firdaus. And those that are sick, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must grant him shifa, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must put sabr and contentment into the hearts of the family. I mean, like people phone me regularly. They tell me, listen, that one has passed. That one is very, very ill. You know, we want to prepare ourselves for the worst to come. This is situations that are happening. So, you know, we ask the public out there, please remember those that are sick in your lives. And if we believe, you know, there's two things that I say, that tie your camel and put your trust in Almighty Allah subhanahu